Good morning, all. Thank you to invite me to be inside the cloud. As an academic, usually I also prepare presentations, but today I'm here more to share with you not a partisan view, but a political view, because I'm here representing the European Parliament as unelected by the European citizens. And being one of the speakers of the opening session for such a qualified audience is an enormous responsibility for me. Sorry also for my English, not fully fluent, but I think I will try to communicate with you, which are my feelings and my feelings. During all my academic and political life, I'm full professor on information management at Évora University, not so beautiful than Strasbourg, but also a very beautiful city, World Heritage in the south of Portugal. As full professor on information management at Évora University, as member of the Portuguese Parliament and also of Portuguese government in different tasks, namely as Lisbon Strategy Coordinator. You remember the Lisbon Strategy. I was Mr. Lisbon in Lisbon. And also coordinator of technological plan with a transversal public-private agenda to develop knowledge, technology and science. And in the last 7 years, as member of the European Parliament, I always worked very close to the digital transition and its several and different impacts. In the European Parliament from 2014, in the Industry, Research and Energy Committee, in the Environment, Health and Food Safety Committee, and also in the Development Committee, I was rapporteur or shadow rapporteur in several legislative and initiative reports or opinions in digital issues. Some examples: the Digital Europe Programme, the big one, as you know, the EU Space Programme, the ISA Square about interoperability, the Wi-Fi for You, or the last one, the Digital DMA, the Digital Market Act. I also work very hard in the energy files and development issues. When I was invited to share with you my vision, how to achieve, and the name is chosen by me, the title, an European data deal for citizens and sustainable development, and why this deal is important. I'm aware that it's not to talk about the files and the discussion now in the Parliament, but to share with you a global perspective. The whole dynamic of transformation is a binomial between information and energy. Science uses data and methodology to build the scientific knowledge that is the base of the development of our societies. The European data strategy is very clear. It focuses on putting people first in the development of technology and on defending and promoting European values and rights in the digital world. I think we will be even more ambitious. It is important to promote European shared common values, not only in the digital world. It's very important to do that in the digital world, but also in the world itself. And you are living moments where we feel that very deeply. With technological acceleration, improved by the pandemic, and now by the need to react to the impacts of the war in Ukraine, the strategic autonomy, and you are in France, in Strasbourg, the country where the strategic autonomy is more stressed, the strategic autonomy has jumped to the center of the political, economic, social, and scientific debate. We need to be able to address this challenge in several steps and dimensions. In the new technological ecosystem, to create strategic autonomy in territories, organizations, enterprises, communities, families, and citizens, while respecting European values, we need to understand that independence is only the first step towards interdependence, towards collaborative frameworks, towards working together between equals, with results, with goals, with dreams. Independence was the secret of peace in Europe during the last 6 decades, and is the basis of any effective partnership between equals. Political will, inclusive digital skills, and safe common data spaces are, in my opinion, the 3 fundamental pillars for success. Political will, inclusive digital skills, and safe common data spaces. It's the base to do something. I fully welcome the European goal of creating a single market for data that ensures Europeans' global competitiveness and data sovereignty. We hope that it could happen really in reality. The common European data spaces are crucial to ensure that more data becomes available for use in the economy and society, while keeping the companies and individuals who generate the data in control based on European ethics and values. In my opinion, the common data spaces embedded with ethics and European common values are strategic to build a human-centered European model to the partnership, survival, and development in an increasingly competitive and geopolitically world. This process needs to be communicated and enforced as an European citizen data deal, in which citizens contribute to the safe and anonymous availability of data generated by themselves in their daily life, in exchange of better science, in exchange of better services, in exchange of better quality of life, in exchange of European relevance in the world, because the European relevance in the world matters always, but more in this moment. An European market for data, combined with deep open data practice for science, scrutiny, social trust, or innovation, is a structural platform for the improvement of other markets, like the digital single market, the energy, and even the European single market itself. The pandemic and the reaction to the war in Ukraine shows the clear advantages of solidarity and collaborative European policies. With the philosophy that I propose to the European citizenship data deal, we need a union for data as a foundation. You need a union for data as a foundation, driven by a strong political will to reinforce the union for energy, the union for digital, and develop new unions, of which the union for health will be the most urgent and natural in the moment. I am also co-chair of the Africa, Caribbean, and Pacific EU Joint Parliamentary Assembly. It is the second largest joint parliamentary assembly in the world after the United Nations Parliamentary Assembly, and in the GPA, in the ACP-EU GPA, we are now following the launch of a new cycle of partnerships between equals. It's the new European Union Africa strategy, but it's also the new partnership post-Cotonou that links European Union with Africa, Caribbean, and Pacific, with regional programs and so on. All of that is now dependent of the signature of Mr. Orban from Hungary, but I hope the signature could come in the next months, or why not during the French presidency? I hope that. Our goal in the GPA is to have strong multilateral partnerships and reinforce civil society involvement, trust, and scrutiny. I believe that trying to put in place the foundation of a common space of data based on our common values would be a key to success and give an opportunity to multilateralism with values. Multilateralism with values and with a common shared data. Data embedded with ethics, values, perspectives, perceptions. And this could be a way to win a multilateral vision, to win against the vision of a world split in two blocks. It was also an opportunity to spread the human-centered approach in the global process of digital transition and in the decarbonization process to fight against climate change. I'm aware that nothing that I have reflected with you can happen without the development of a fair and innovative data economy. A successful enforcement of the Data Act is a key to this. To give to consumers and companies even more control over what can be done with their data, clarifying who can access data on what terms, as Commissioner Vestager said, and reinforcing that the Data Act, qualified at the last horizontal building block of the European data strategy, will ensure that industrial data is shared, stored and processed in full respect of European rules, as Commissioner Breton said, are fundamental to having a fair and innovative European data economy, able to influence the global data economy standards, practices, and patterns. Allow me to share with you some ideas that come out from my involvement in the legislative process and in monitoring the implementation of the European digital and data strategies. I am, because the process is not yet completely finished, in the second lecture in the Parliament and the Council, I am rapporteur at the Industry, Research and Energy Committee, ITRE, for the DMEA, for the Digital Market Act, under Rule 57+. That means that there are 3 committees that go to the end of the process, ITRE, INCO, and ECON. During the, sorry to use this, INCO is internal market, ECON is the economic committee. During the legislative process, I interacted with different stakeholders, namely the GAFA. My vision, shared with them, is very clear. No matter where a company comes from, it must act in Europe as if it were an European company. This is very important. No matter where a company comes from Japan, China, I don't know Russia, but Canada, United States, it must act in Europe as if it were an European company. Only working in this way, we will have a competitive digital ecosystem and improve it as a global benchmark. Relevant and benchmark, why not? In the ITRE committee, you have been able to give good contributions on this approach, namely in our most linked issues of interoperability, not very well accepted by the big companies outside Europe, but they need to accept, it's very important, and opting in rules in advertising. Opting in, not opting out, in advertising. Allow me to share also with you a memory that is also an unfinished dream for me. I was also the rapporteur for Wi-Fi for You, his initiative launched by Jean-Claude Juncker during his State of the Union speech in 2016, aiming to promote free public Wi-Fi connectivity in 6,000 to 8,000 communities across the European Union by 2020. It is achieved. All these rules are achieved by 2021, I think, but they were achieved. But its initial ambition, and who puts me really very interested in this file, its initial ambition was also to connect these networks and create a single authentication system and an European portal of service for citizens, but unfortunately, this part of the project is not carried out. Now, the Commission is designing the second phase of Wi-Fi for You, We are trying to give the name Wi-Fi for You 7.0. I don't know if the name will be accepted. But I think this second phase, with all these points of internet, all the other points that communities, authorities, municipalities also launch, you are thousands and thousands and thousands of points of connection that you can put in network and integrate it as a portal of services, or a portal for science, or a portal for share, a portal of information, validated information. And to speak about which is validated or true information is a long discussion, but I don't want to enter there. But the second phase, the Wi-Fi for You 7.0, in my opinion, could be a tool to develop another concept that I work a lot, that is the concept of European digital identity. I know that developing the European digital identity is a process that should combine the two approaches. The more practical approach, that is to develop the European digital identity wallet, and this is now in work to be concretized, but also to the shared and common values component reflected the viable community cells for sustainable development. I think you need really have also not only the digital identity to identify us, but the digital European identity to identify us as a people with the kind of values and that shared values in a partnership between 27 countries. I come from a low density region of Portugal, Alentejo, and I'm collaborating now on a project to try, through integrated investment in technological infrastructure, skills, and literacy, to bridge not only the digital divide, but also the development divide. The main idea in the Alentejo project is to create viable social and economic cells, using technology to promote real and virtual networks in the real and in the virtual territory, attracting people to live there and creating conditions to reduce the brain drain. Once again, the political will, the digital skills, and the data availability are crucial to achieve the dream. Last week, I was invited to give a speech on what is the EU plan to lead a future-proof Europe into the digital age. I express my deep convictions that something to be future-proof in these times of strong technological acceleration need to be human-centered. Only human-centered projects are future-proof, because it depends of the future of the humanity. If there are no future for the humanity, any project is future-proof. But the strong way to be future-proof is to be human-centered. This approach implies an integrated focus on skills and digital literacy, data availability, but also on ethics and values. It also implies that people's imagination and willingness should prevail over the programs, applications, platforms, and algorithms that serve as their tools. In Alentejo, our dream is to put in place a smart conceptual algorithm, in brackets, to boost a stronger and more inclusive development process. Speaking about algorithms, I believe that AI is the mirror where challenges can be anticipated, avoided, and overcome when possible. In the dangerous time we live in, it is important to underline that if we lose the human-centered and ethical approach, it will be possible to have a catastrophe decided by an algorithm able of learning, able of understanding, but not able of feeling and not able of thinking. I believe that the European Union plan to lead a future-proof Europe in the digital age needs combined with a data deal for citizenship, and sustainable needs combined with a data deal for citizenship and sustainable development, with shared values and shared tools and resources, with a strong vision, not a machine-man society, but a man-machine one. The technology needs follows human imagination and meaning, in contrast to, you see it in different films, no? In contrast to humanity following technological algorithms and self-controlled automatic devices. You have now the opportunity to make the difference, to gain a competitive advantage, to create and disseminate the skills, to put people at the center of the economic and social model, and bridge the digital and development divide, to align the different tools, programs, and projects that deals with these subjects, to express a strong ambition using technology to reconnect the reskilled citizens with the European project and its global vision, based on partnerships of equals, developing a network of inclusive and creative innovation and sustainable development. And the open science is fundamental for that. It's both possible and a priority to achieve this goal. The best thing about this story is that it appeals to our imagination and is not possible to work alone. It will be a shared challenge. And that is planned. Thank you very much.